What's up, YouTube? Here with Kelsey and the two-door JL. And right now we're installing the DeeZee roof rack. I did a lot of searching on YouTube and couldn't find any info on whether or not this rack would fit on a two-door. So I'm here to answer that for anyone else wondering the same thing right now. So when I first bought this rack, I thought that I could just use the long 6-foot poles and span the whole distance of the roof. But actually the way these clips work, the roof itself is actually curved where the poles are straight. So that's not gonna work. So step one is we gotta cut the rack in the back so we can have it in two parts. So see you on the bandsaw. So before we start cutting the rack, I want to show you guys how we came to the solution that you can't use the long one. And you see that it's touching in the middle. Even when you tighten all these up, once you tighten them up back here, it'll have this front part sticking so far away that it's popping out like that. So just more reassurance that cutting it is really the only option.
All right, we decided to cut off 14 inches. Just figure out what's best for your Jeep. All right, Zane's getting it lined up.
We're at 14. Right about there.
Little kitty break. Say hi, pirate.
Alright. Got this fucker tight. Got some cutting oil. Show a little bit of cutting oil in there. This aluminum is cut like butter. Bam! You might be thinking, like, oh no, you got that edge that's not anodized. Don't worry about it. There's a cap, goes right on there. You'll never see it. Some of you might be thinking throw these away, but
They become useful.
Parts and pieces always come in handy. Alright, you gotta clean this up a little bit here. Just get your rag in there. Kind of bump it. Look at all them aluminum shavings. Just think that's what's in your deodorant. You know, really not a lot of Bob Barkers at all, so I'm not even gonna put those on the grinder. The caps will cover all that up.
Nice. There you go.
All right, good enough. I don't know. What do you think, Kelsey? All the way down, or? If you have it all the way down, it's gonna be. It's gonna be touching the bottom of the trough there. What's it show in that picture? In the picture, it shows it touching the bottom of the trough. So, I guess we'll do it that way. The only thing is, if you do it all the way down, then you're not going to be able to get to this bolt. So I think we'll tighten these up first. We do 1 inch off of this center seam, right?
Yeah.
And then, so how far is that off there? Roughly almost 2 inches. Will it hurt if we go 2 inches? Let's go 2 inches. So we said we want to go 2 inches. Two inches there. I don't think so.
There is now. Sealed in and not.
All right.
Don't tighten those too tight.
These are slotted too.
This is what happens.
Good advice. These are slotted too. I'm gonna go all the way down in the slot because otherwise you'll be hitting against the side of your roof. So push that slot all the way down and just gently tighten. It's aluminum. Kelsey showed you. We already screwed it all up because we over tightened. So.
Then it's a pain in the ass to get back out.
Yeah. All right. Did we measure the last? We didn't measure this one.
No. Back to the Jeep we go.
The good thing about the DeeZee rack is you got a lot of options for configuration. The bad thing is you got a lot of options for configuration.
It's both blessing and a curse.
And I lost the tape measure. Right about there. That's 3 inches on this side. Let's see if we can match it. You like how that looks? I like it. You like it?
I like it.
I like it. So that's like 10 1/4. It's not an exact science. Secure tight and don't over tighten. Alright, about there. That's good enough. Should we talk about the weather strip?
Yeah.
Using the weather strip?
Yeah.
I think this would be a step 2. This right here. You gonna show them the weather strip, Kelsey? You better show them.
This.
Yeah. We're gonna try to use weather strip
Get a little piece cut out.
under here to keep from having this rubbing. So we're gonna loosen these up and get the weather strip in there. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but anything to stop rubbing. Anything to stop that rubbing. So we got these loosened up. You just fit the little piece of weather strip behind there. Yeah, that's gonna help with the rubbing. Where's that other little piece? Here. It's not an exact science. That's actually, I think that's gonna work pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is where GoPro would be nice.
Christmas present.
Oh shit. Trying to hold that wrench on the backside is not an easy business. Do a lot of sliding on you. Okay. That one's pretty tight.
Pretty dang tight.
Tightening up. A little bit. You don't want to over tighten any of this stuff. All just snug. Right there. Yeah, that weather strip's fitting easy on it. You're gonna rip the freaking rail off.
Show you how tight it is.
And we got that weather strip in behind there. That's gonna help a lot, I think.
All right, we're gonna cut a couple more strips.
Cutting your weather strip, you just get one of these brackets here and cut them about the length of the bracket. Hashtag, it's not an exact science. So we're just gonna loosen these up enough so we can get the weather strip in behind there again, and then once that's in, then we'll tighten her up. And then loose. Feel the first piece. You got getting really loose. Piece number 1. Piece number 2 on the bottom. That's a good angle. Once you start tightening, these things it just crushes right in. So, you can get the wrenches. I think we're just spinning this on the back side. Come on now. These are both 13 millimeter. Oh geez, we're just spinning back there. Son of a gun. Here we go. Well, that would have helped. Just, as the Germans say, good and tight. That's tight enough. It's pretty sturdy on there. All right, we'll get the other side done and then see you in the next step. Next step, step 5. Follow this diagram. See you in a minute. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna go ahead and get them placed up on the Jeep. Just go in like this. So check in when we get them all on. All right, here we are on the other side. We got all 4 on. We're gonna add the other rails. Grabbing 2 more rails. Let's get them on the Jeep. You're gonna wanna get your tape measure out and make sure everything's squared up on both sides. Say we go 6 inches in. Looks pretty good. So let me make sure the other side matches 6 inches. And we'll also go, okay, we got 2 inches on both sides. We're gonna wanna try to balance both sides here. So I went 7 inches in, and then 1 3/4 inches. And that was what balanced it for both sides. So gonna tighten all these up. Finger tight first, and then just finish them off with the ratchet. You don't need to go crazy tightening these. All right, check back in when I get them tightened. Okay, pro tip here, there's not enough space between the roof of the Jeep and these bolts to get the ratchet in there, so take them off. We know it's 1 3/4 from the edge, so just measure it off and then tighten these up off vehicle. All right, we got it back on. Everything's measured and right, so gonna tighten her down. Now we can adjust the foot pegs. You can see foot pegs on both sides. This was actually the reason I bought this rack, is because I wanted something that wasn't gonna put all the weight on the rails. With these foot pegs, all the weight is distributed to the roof of the Jeep. And if I can get a wrench on it. You don't have to be overly tight, but I don't think my wrench is the right size. Let me go get the right size wrench. But yeah, these foot pegs help make it sturdy on the roof instead of putting everything on these gutter rails. The gutter rails really in this design are they're just holding it so that if you go over a bump and everything starts going up, it's gonna keep it held down. But really all your weight is on these pegs. So I think that's a really good thing. So congratulate DeeZee for doing that. The only other one I could find was, I believe it was called exposed racks. But man, those were just pretty expensive for what they were. I think DeeZee really had the better product here. All right, FYI, these here are a 16 millimeter. So I see that rising, so I think that's tight enough. Feels super, super sturdy. I'm pretty happy with this. All right, next step, I'm dry fitting this other one for measurements. You might ask, well, why don't you just take the measurements off the back? Well, these two rails are not parallel because the roof of the Jeep is not parallel, so it's gonna be two different measurements. So as suspected, because these roof gutter doors don't run parallel, on the back we had 1 3/4, and on the front it's about 1 1/8. Can't tell very well with the camera, but 1 1/8 on both sides squares it up. So there you go. Measure twice, tighten once. All right, get it on the bench here, measure over. 1 1/8. It was about a smidge under, so I'm gonna leave it right there. Tighten her up. Well, after some finagling, I got the second rack on. Didn't bother to video it because it's pretty much the same process as the first. But there you go. I mean, can the DeeZee rack work on a 2-door JL? I can tell you, yes, it will.